Hey everyone, welcome to our exploration of some fascinating information we've been looking at.
Hi there. Yeah, ready to unpack it and see what we find.
So today, we're examining some source content that's really focused on a fundamental thing for English learners,
hmm
how you talk about hobbies.
Right, and this material we looked at, it lays out some very simple structures, basic vocabulary, clearly aimed at beginners.
Exactly. It's quite a step-by-step guide for a conversation you'll definitely have.
hmm
So what we want to understand by looking at this source is, well, how do they break down this essential topic for someone starting out? What's the method?
And what can we learn from that presentation?
Okay, let's kick things off with the core idea. The source material, right away, says talking about hobbies is a great way to start a conversation.
Yeah, that's its starting point. Very practical. It gets that language isn't just grammar rules.
It's about actually connecting with people.
Exactly. And hobbies, universal connector. So the
Yeah.
material uses that. Makes sense.
And it immediately gives you the main grammatical structure, the sort of cornerstone for this lesson, I like to, plus a verb.
That's the foundation they build on.
Right. It's presented as the key takeaway.
And you have to ask, why that structure? I like to. Why start there?
Good question.
Well, it's incredibly simple, isn't it? Subject, verb, infinitive. Done.
Yeah.
It avoids trickier things like, gerunds, I like swimming, or more complex ways to say you prefer something.
So the source implies its power is just how direct it is.
Direct and versatile. It lets someone share something personal with really minimal grammatical effort, a low hurdle to jump for expressing yourself.
So, for you listening, realizing why this source picks this specific simple block, well, it can maybe simplify how you think about expressing interests in English from the ground up.
It's not just what they teach, but the thinking behind choosing that as step one.
Okay, so building on that structure, the material then gives specific words, a list of 6 hobby words.
Yep, the chosen ones are dance, sing, read, cook, play football, and watch movies. Pretty common activities.
And then it provides example sentences using that I like to formula for each. So you get, I like to dance,
I like to sing
I like to
song.
read books,
I like to cook food.
I like to play football.
And I like
Yeah.
to watch movies. Straightforward.
But there's a little nuance they add, isn't there?
Yes. That's what's interesting. They point out you can add extra words like songs after sing or books after read.
Right, saying it makes it sound a bit more natural.
But crucially, they also say it's optional. So it's like they're balancing absolute simplicity with a little nudge towards, sounding more like a native speaker, even for beginners.
It's a subtle thing for a basic resource.
Yeah, quite a smart touch, actually.
The material also gets into pronunciation, specific points. It mentions the sound of to, how it often sounds more like to, but with a soft T, like in I like to dance.
And it also calls out the K sound at the end of cook. Make sure you get that crisp K in I like to cook.
Which makes you wonder, why those specific sounds out of everything else?
Good point. It probably suggests these are, well, common sticking points, or maybe places where unclear pronunciation really hinders understanding for beginners.
So it's targeted help.
Exactly. Focusing on clarity where it might matter most.
And then, to make it relatable, they give personal examples using the structure.
Right. They show it in action.
Yeah, like one example, like person likes salsa dancing and says it's because it's lively and cultural.
And another likes reading science fiction, saying, it's like traveling.
Using the structure to add a bit more personality.
And if you connect that back, these examples show the structure isn't just for those 6 listed words. It works for anything.
Hi.
You plug in your hobby, maybe add a simple because. It shows the learner, hey, this structure is a tool you can actually use to talk about what you like. Moves it beyond just rote learning.
Makes sense.
Mm.
And the source doesn't just present info, it pushes practice.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Very action-oriented.
It says, say the sentences out loud. Don't just read them silently.
Which is key, right? Language learning needs that output. You got to make the sounds.
And it suggests a game, hobby swap. You grab a hobby word, form the sentence.
Like flashcard practice, but framed as a game.
Yeah. And then it challenges you directly. What's your hobby? Say, I like to, with your own interest.
That's good pedagogy. The swap game is structured repetition, active recall. The personal challenge makes it relevant, pushes application.
Moves you from just receiving the info to actually using it.
Exactly, from passive to active. That's how things stick.
And they include this pro tip, which I thought was pretty neat.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
It says, if you don't know the exact English word for your hobby, just describe it.
Ah, okay. Like circumlocution.
Right. The example was, if you knit but don't know knit, you could say, I like to make things with yarn.
That's brilliant advice for a beginner resource. It teaches resourcefulness.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off having the perfect word.
It tells the learner, hey, it's okay. Use the words you do know to get your meaning across. Focus on communication, not perfection. That's a valuable mindset.
Totally. Okay, so let's just quickly recap the main takeaways from analyzing this source. We saw the central role of I like to.
And why it's chosen simplicity, directness.
We looked at the specific vocabulary list, those 6 hobbies.
And that little nuance about adding extra words like songs or books for naturalness.
Yep. Then the specific pronunciation points the soft T in to, the crisp K in cook.
And using personal examples like salsa or sci-fi to show the structure's flexibility.
Right. And finally, the practice methods, saying it aloud. The hobby swap game.
And that great pro tip about describing your hobby, if you lack the exact word, resourcefulness.
So overall, the source seems to provide a really clear, structured path for beginners. Takes a common topic and makes it very accessible.
Definitely a solid foundation for that specific conversational need.
And just reporting what the source material itself says, it mentions that the next topic it covers will be talking about a daily schedule. So that's what's next in their sequence.
Okay.
Well, thank you for joining us for this exploration of the source material. Hopefully, breaking down this resource gave you some interesting insights.
Yeah, maybe into how foundational language skills are taught.
Now, take a moment, maybe later today.
Yeah.
Think about one of your hobbies. Seriously, whatever it is.
And just mentally try out that simple sentence, I like to.
Because this source really shows how just a few simple words, I like to, plus a clear structure, can open up conversations about something so personal, so varied.
Think about all the millions of hobbies out there.
Right. All the things people love doing worldwide, how much connection is just sitting there waiting to be sparked by those 3 little words, I like to. Makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. Well, we appreciate you spending this time with us.
Yes, thank you. And if you found this discussion valuable, please do consider rating, reviewing, or subscribing. It genuinely helps us keep these explorations going.
Until next time.